Chris Shaw here, the voice of the Independence Mustang football team, here for Week 5, talking Independence football with the honorary captain for the homecoming contest this Friday night, Tom Sheets. Coach, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
You honorary captain, you've been working on that coin toss at all?
Yeah.
A little bit?
A little bit.
Football coach here from 86 to 1994, 32 wins, had 13 All-Staters and 3 Shrine Bowlers. What was your most favorite moment of coaching?
I would guess that the greatest feeling we had was the year 73, where we started 3 years in a row. Our first season, we were undefeated, and our second season we had 8 wins and 2 losses, and our third season was the same. We never made the playoffs because at that time, this is when the playoffs were just starting, and with the records, we were 3 times conference champions in a row, and we never made the playoffs. So
a little bit of a different time there with
different slant for sure.
With the conferences back then, no districts, and then how did the playoffs get decided?
Well, the playoffs at that particular time is if you were a 3A school and you played a 2A school, they took points away from you.
Gotcha.
So, and we always had 2 teams in the Walmac. They were Walmac teams, but 2 of them and kept us from getting into the playoffs. So. Tremendous time. You go 3 years in a row, and you only have 4 losses, 9, 18, 27 against 27 wins. That's good football.
You, I mentioned before you had 13 All-Staters and 3 Shrine Bowlers. I hate to put you on the spot, but who was your favorite player? Did you have a favorite from all your years of coaching?
I would say you've got as exciting a player right now playing for Independence as we had at that particular time. We were really a blend of just good athletes. Our linemen, our goal every year was to get it back with 1,000 yards. And it was just set one step after the other that and as you win, of course, you come closer together. I think, it turns the kids on, and they could just produce at maximum efficiency, and that's what's really great.
Yep. Have you seen some similarities between this team and the 73 team, like you mentioned?
Yeah. Amazingly, I wasn't overly impressed with the size of our linemen. Especially, those 3 years, we always taught that you may be smaller, but you're quicker.
Yep.
And we use that to encourage and make things happen a lot better. So, that's the way that things just mushroom.
Yep, absolutely. If you had one piece of advice for Coach Putz, what would it be?
Just keep them rolling. Once you get things going in the right direction, they'll continue to. So, in other words, don't overcoach them.
Yep.
That's probably one of the biggest things.
Winning breeds winning, right?
There you go.
Anything you want to add? You excited for Friday night? Flip the coin, get out there, and
I'm ready. I can handle the chores, I think.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for joining us, Coach.
No problem.
Back at you with this week's Home Indeed Offensive Player of the Week for the Independence Mustang football program, Spencer Pink. Spencer, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you having me.
Last week, it was sloppy conditions. So, I'm going to say your numbers. 3 catches for 30 yards. Doesn't really sound like that impressive, but you had the go-ahead touchdown reception. Talk about last week's game at Waverly.
It was definitely sloppy. You could definitely see it with our running backs maybe jostling the ball in their arms, and Nicholas was definitely having some troubles fumbling it. Luckily, he didn't have an actual fumble. He was able to recover. I think he had 1 or 2. But, it was definitely wet, but we battled through it and won the turnover battle, which is a big point Coach Putz has us work on during the week.
Absolutely. You mentioned Nicholas Holt. I think I referred to him as on the radio as being on ice skates, because it really looked like when he would get around the corner, it would just
Yeah, Coach Locker definitely pushed that we weren't going to be able to make really sharp cuts tonight, so we definitely had to plant when we were making our cuts to make sure we didn't slip. And obviously, if you saw Nicholas on skates, he wasn't doing that the most. But
right. Also on the radio, I've mentioned it a time or two before. When you run that the post to the corner of the end zone, like, that's my favorite play in the entire world because you're so much taller than a lot of the defensive backs out there. Is that your favorite play when Coach calls that up? You're like,
yeah, that's definitely my favorite route to run is the fade. When corners get one-on-one with a taller receiver, that all they do is panic, and Coach Putz makes sure that I get a couple of those a game, so I really appreciate that. But what really set up that touchdown I had is the receiver thought I was going to run a fade, I'm pretty sure, so when I ran the slant, he was in the right position, so I had the easy touchdown.
Absolutely. Your favorite part coming across the middle?
Probably not my favorite part there. Nicholas hasn't let me out to dry anytime this year yet. I'm hoping he won't, but we'll see what comes.
Sure. This week, homecoming against Vinton-Shellsburg. What are you guys kind of expecting going into that one? Opportunity to go 5-0.
Vinton, they're no pushover. They could be that team that you clobber. They could be that team that comes out and punches you in the mouth right to start. We always press that we need to fire off the ball right away in the game and not let a team get their hopes up. So we're going to come out and act as if they were undefeated as well. So.
Absolutely. Now, senior year, right?
Yep, senior.
What happens after this? I guess May.
I'm looking at a couple schools to go and maybe play some college basketball. Nothing big, but a couple smaller schools are talking to me, so we'll see what happens after that.
Sure. Well, good luck with the rest of the season.
All right, thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. Spencer Pink, the Home Indeed Offensive Player of the Week. Chris Shaw back here with you on Week 5 of Mustang Football Talk. Here with the third segment, we're joined by the Home Indeed Defensive Player of the Week for the Mustangs, Matt McMillan. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Wanted to talk about the defensive side last week. You had 4 tackles, a sack, and a fumble recovery. Talk about the game over in Waverly.
I mean, like you said, it was wet and sloppy, not much offense going on. As a defense, we all just needed to do our jobs and contain our gaps and do what we're preached at practice, which is everyone do what you're supposed to do and play as 11 guys, not just worry about your own stats and everything.
Absolutely. In your opinion, is playing in the rain like that, is it harder for the offense or harder for the defense?
I mean, honestly, Coach Putz stressed this a lot on Friday night. It just comes down to your focus. I mean, it's hard both sides, but the other team has to deal with it too. So,
right.
I mean, it's just who focuses more. So.
Absolutely. I was supposed to bring up a fact that as a lineman, you've had 2 catches this year. How different is that coming off the ball and getting ready to catch a pass?
I mean, it's a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm still doing a lot of blocking, but occasionally they throw me a bone, which is kind of cool.
Right.
So, yeah.
This week, homecoming, Vinton-Shellsburg comes to town. What kind of are your expectations for Friday night?
We haven't really gone over our game film on what they're going to throw at us this week, so I'm not really sure. But as of right now, I can just say we all just got to play hard and do our jobs, and good things will happen if we do that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, with the next 2 weeks being home games, definitely get to see the home crowd a couple times here in the next couple weeks. More fun playing at home or going out on the road and getting a big road victory?
I like playing at home a lot. I mean, our field's really nice, and the fans are good, and once we're winning some games, there's more people coming.
Sure.
So it's just a better atmosphere.
For sure. And you guys have great atmosphere with the weather's nice. You get the smoke machines out there.
Yeah.
You get the music lights and all that stuff too. So awesome. Senior year. What are you kind of thinking about doing next year?
I'm gonna go to Iowa State, just study and be a student.
Nice.
So,
Go Cyclones.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Matt McMillan, the Home Indeed Defensive Player of the Week. Welcome back to the program. Final segment this week. We're here with head coach Justin Putz. Going to talk a little bit about last week, a little bit about next week. How are you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm good. Thanks for coming out and doing this again this week.
No problem. Glad to be here. Big win at Waverly. You said, we talked a little bit after the Decorah game last week that you were really looking forward. You really wanted the Waverly Shell Rock win. You guys got it. What does that do for the rest of the season?
It's an important win. It puts us at 2-0 in district play. It gives us a tiebreaker, head-to-head tiebreaker with Waverly. We have a head-to-head tiebreaker with Decorah. It also does a lot for, give us a validity to our season. Waverly Shell Rock is considered by many to be a good program. They were 2-0 against 2 4A teams to start the season. They do a lot of things well. They have a lot of athletes. And it's for us to go down there and win. Kind of makes a little bit of a statement.
Absolutely. Going up, on the road and not great weather conditions, hostile, environment to go up there and get a win is a big, huge turning point, for the season. Not necessarily a turning point, but a huge step for the season. Now you come home for 2 games, Vinton-Shellsburg Friday night, and then I believe Crestwood the week after. So now you get your home fans, opportunity to pile on a couple more wins here in front of the home crowd.
Anytime you get to play at home, we enjoy it. Again, we feel like we have a great facility. We feel like we have a great atmosphere. And, it's homecoming. There's always a lot of fun around homecoming. There's always a lot of excitement. It's always fun to be out there, be the focal point of homecoming.
Absolutely.
And quite honestly, that's what football is.
You mentioned homecoming week here in Independence. How much different is this week than the rest of the year? You have all the dress-up days. You do all the fun, school spirit stuff. How much different is it? How much more difficult, is it to get kids kind of focused in and ready to go for Friday?
And some of that depends on your team. I think right now we have a pretty focused group of guys. We had the media out of practice all last week in a couple days, and it didn't take away from our preparation. It's one of those things where we're going to have fun with homecoming things, but when we get to our practice time and time for us to focus, we're going to do that. I have confidence that our guys are going to be able to handle it with no problem.
How fun was that to have the media out of practice? Was it a little different for you not being able to not necessarily be all into practice, but knowing that there's cameras and stuff like that?
It's all right. I kind of think we've had guys do a lot of work to get to the point where now the hard work's getting noticed. So that's just great for our program. It's great for our players, and quite honestly, I'm glad to have some excitement and a buzz around our program right now.
Some coaches really like having media and cameras. Some coaches really don't like it. So I had to ask that question. You've seen some game film already on Vinton-Shellsburg. What do you expect for Friday night?
They're another good football team. They like to run the ball. That's where they're going to make their bread and butter. But they do have, maybe the fastest player in the district. In Cody Highland, they have a big offensive line. So they do a number of things really, really well. And it's going to come down to every week us playing good assignment football and know the things that we need to do. Sure.
You had a chance also to probably look at last week's game film. How much of that can you take with the field conditions being what they were? How can you just say, we missed an assignment there, and what can you gain from something like that?
Especially assignment-wise, dry, hot, cold, rainy, you still got to execute assignments. And there's things in that film that you can just tell whether or not we didn't do what we were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Then at the same time, you look at some things where we made some plays. At the end of the game, we talked about on Friday night that our guys made plays. We had that big 4th down for a touchdown. We forced a few turnovers. We got first downs and we were trying to run out the clock. So we just went out and made plays. So you can take a lot, from that game film. Wet or dry.
Mm-hmm. You touched on the defense. +8 turnover margin right now. How big is that? How much? 4-0, but does that?
Well, it's huge. We believe that the team that turns it over is going to lose. Mm-hmm. We believe that 6 plays will decide any football game, and we don't know which one of those 6 are. Mm-hmm. And turnover is always going to play a factor in a football game.
Absolutely. Anything you want to add this week heading into the homecoming football game? I think it's 102nd. Homecoming football game here.
We just hope to have a large crowd. We hope to have a crowd that is pretty excited about what's going on right now and hope to keep things going.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining me, Coach. Head Coach Justin Putz. Friday night, you can catch the game on Independence versus Waverly Shell Rock. It's homecoming here in Independence. It's going to be broadcast on KCRG 9.2 and, of course, on Bright 95.3. Kickoff set for about 7:30. So we will see you then.